Welcome to Heartistry. This is Farah Yasmeen Shaikh, and I am thrilled because this is a very special episode today. I have a co-host with me, none other than my daughter, Aziza Noor Shaikh, and we have a wonderful guest, and let us tell you a little bit about her before we start the conversation. Today, we welcome Phoenyx Rose. Phoenyx is a Bay Area born, multi hyphenated artist, healer, and movement educator whose work spans Broadway, film, music, and sacred storytelling. With over 2,000 students taught across the Bay Area, spoiler alert, including Aziza, Phoenyx is known for weaving life values into every movement, igniting transformation in and beyond the studio. Her creative lineage merges ancestral power with modern expression, empowering others to see. As a performer, writer, and founder of Aurora Luxe Candles, Phoenyx blends art with alchemy. Phoenyx's presence is a portal, her mission, to move souls, not just bodies. Aziza and I are thrilled to welcome this episode's guest, Phoenyx Rose. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here on the first episode with you and Aziza together.
Oh, thank you. We are so excited to say the least. And we are going to jump into so many things. But again, as I mentioned in the bio, Aziza is lucky enough to also call you one of her dance teachers. And just to sort of qualify this moment a little bit, it's Aziza's summer break. And I'm going to let you take it from here, Janu. But I asked you, would you like to co-host some episodes with me? And fortunately, the answer was
yes.
And I asked her, who she would like to chat with. And again, clearly you were on the list. But Aziza, I'm going to start with you before we even start chatting with Phoenyx. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with our special guest today, why you were so excited to have her on.
Phoenyx has been my teacher now for about a year, and I started beginners hip hop with her, and she was very inspirational and one of my favorite teachers actually for dance.
Love you too.
Yeah. And, again, we need to jump into hearing your beautiful voice, Phoenyx, but I think that's why I've just also loved you. I just have to say that as a mother, as a dance artist myself, and a teacher to Aziza, to have individuals such as you that are clearly inspiring her on and off the dance floor. I have to just start this episode by saying thank you.
My absolute pleasure. It is my pleasure. She is a joy to have in my class. She's a leader.
Thank you.
And now on to you. What I love to do with our guests is essentially to hear a little bit about your origin story. Anything about your personal family history, perhaps where you were born, brought up. Eventually we get to the present, but tell us a little bit more about Phoenyx Rose.
Okay, Phoenyx Rose was born in Rasa. My name means healing strength. So when my mother was pregnant with me, I'm going all the way back to the beginning. She was pregnant with me and she had a dream that I told her how to write it, spell it, and its meaning. And it's Nraca, and it means healing strength. And it's capital N, capital R. So that was my origin story. Phoenyx came a little bit later. My mother was a musical background singer and professor in music. My father is also, he's still with us, a jazz pianist. And my mother took me everywhere when I was a little girl. She was on tour with Harry Belafonte and also was on Broadway. And so by the time I was 12, I had lived in Japan, Germany, and Africa. And when I was 17, I joined a music group called Four Colors, and we were on tour with Puff Daddy for his European tour. And let me see, I'm skipping ahead. I lived in Japan for a little while, and then what happened after that? I moved to New York, and I was on Broadway, and I did a show called Hairspray. And after that, let me see. And all throughout of this time, I've known that I've been a healer. I'm what you would call a presence healer, so just being in my presence, you will inevitably have something healed on your body, in your mind, in your spirit, before I even have an opportunity to touch you and even speak with you. And then let me see, where am I? Germany at 17, Broadway at 21. And then I did my own solo music career. I recorded songs in Greece and Los Angeles and Germany, and I released an album called You're Welcome. And I finally came home because I left home when I was 17, and
Mm.
I came home at about 33.
And where do you call home currently?
The Bay Area. I'm living in Hayward. I was born in San Francisco.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And
Amazing.
yeah, I've traveled all over the world, but I always return to the Bay. It's where my roots are. It's where my family is, most of them. And then I began teaching. I said, I want to give back. I want to give what I have learned along the way, because it has been a very a learning experience, trials and tribulations, rising and falling and rising again. And that's where I get the name Phoenix from. You go through life and it's not always perfect, but it's yours and it's in divine order. And so you just take it as it comes and you rise and you elevate and you transmute pain into art. And that's what I do.
Mm. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
You did Broadway so many times. You told me about like your music career, but I didn't know about Broadway. That's shocking.
Yes, I'm an original member of the first national tour of Hairspray. And then I went on to do Hairspray on Broadway. And then I went on to do Hairspray in Las Vegas.
Mm.
And then I went on to do Hairspray at the Hollywood Bowl. And I have a secret Hairspray endeavor coming up, so you'll have to stay tuned.
Cannot wait. Yes. Well, we threw some questions your way to help us prepare for the conversation. And, one of the ones, because I often speak with artists, creatives, is sort of, when did you know that this was your calling? And again, multi-hyphenated at that. It's not a singular. But there's clearly been, let's just take this very clear artistic side that you have, as Aziza just mentioned, Broadway, dance, singing, acting, all of this. How, where, you mentioned in your response, but even now, just your thoughts, reflections on that. You clearly had very obvious role models in both of your parents, but were these conscious decisions you were making, conscious conversations you were having with your parents? You were going on tour, and were you being sort of guided in that process?
I was instinctually guided in that process. There's a story my mother used to tell me all the time, that I was always on the road with her and she was in rehearsals, and I found my way to stay on the stage, and they put the spotlight on me and they would move it and I would find it again and I would sit there, and then they would move it again and I would find it one more time. And in that moment, my mother knew, I knew that I belonged on the stage underneath the lights, shining. And so that's kind of the origin story of me noticing and realizing that I am meant to be on stage, performing, shining a light, and allowing everyone to see and be inspired by it.
Mm, beautiful.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Aziza's, younger days. She's still obviously quite young, but she
Yeah.
would come on tour with me, especially when I would go to Pakistan, and you would be around just these rehearsals. And it was like you could just feel the music seeping into her, and
Yeah.
dance, and that the style that we do Kathak is, there's a quite a bit of syllable component to it, where we're reciting. So like there's a language to the dance, like tat tat tay, tat tat tay, and then you have to take those syllables and you translate them through movement, somewhat,
Yes.
prescribed movement, and or just sounds of the music. And it would be so fascinating with Aziza, because even though she wasn't necessarily dancing in those moments with me, even, we have a dance room in the house, she'd go in her room then, and I'd hear her regurgitating those very syllables she heard, and or creating movement in timing with those syllables. And so it's just the way children, as we say, with language or what have you, you're sponges, and
Exactly.
it just seeps in. And again, clearly what you do with it is a whole other thing. But yeah, do you remember those days?
Yeah. I mean, like I remember like sitting like in the kitchen, like doing something or at my desk on my computer and just like hearing it and just like kind of replaying in my head and
Mm-hmm.
do it to fall
Yes,
asleep.
you're definitely a natural.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So then, like you were saying, you always were finding that light, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you actually start as a child, any sort of, if you will, whether formal training or direct guidance, whether it was from your mother, anything of that sort?
I have really not been formally trained in anything that I do. It's all come from my spirit within or absorbing everything around me. I did my first professional show when I was about 4 years old at the Geary Theater in San Francisco, and I played a guinea pig. And I was dressed in all of this fur, and I knew everyone's lines, everyone's cues. I was that little irritating girl who was like, "You didn't move when you were supposed to. Do you know that?" And they paid me in singles. And ever since then, I was like, oh, this is what I'm doing. Okay. I can get paid to be me, be a creative, be an artist. Okay. This is my calling. And so that's what I've been doing. I'm a full-time creative.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's go
Thank
ahead.
you.
We'll take our first pause here.
Okay.
Welcome back to Heartistry. This is Farah Yasmeen Shaikh, and today we are joined by my co-host Aziza Noor Shaikh, and we are speaking with the amazing Phoenyx Rose. And you know what, Phoenix? I'm just remembering, and I have to tell you, sorry, a little side note. I speak to Aziza in Urdu, the language of Pakistan, and it's funny. I can look at you and know she's here next to me and speak in English, but the moment I turn and look to her, it's so weird to speak in English. So please forgive me if every once in a while I bounce over to Urdu.
I love it. I love it. I want to learn. I'm like, let me listen a little closer because the cadence and the rhythm of it is beautiful. I
Uh,
can see how you can move to it.
yeah. Well,
I have a co-star also. He's a ham. This is awesome. I'm gonna put him down very soon.
very cute. Oh, he's great. It's funny.
Yeah,
Didn't even phase me that he's just chilling in your lap.
yeah. He's mama's baby. Yeah.
So, अजीजा याद है तुम्हारे सबसे पहले रोल मंच पे क्या था?
A phoenix?
हाँ,
Oh,
so
yeah.
अंग्रेजी में पूरा sentence.
My first role when I was 6, I think,
Yeah.
one of my mom's closest friends had a show at the time called
Conference of the Birds.
Conference of the Birds, and I was a phoenix, and that was my first role.
So that was literally she was dancing. It was a minimal movement, but she was the phoenix rising from the ashes. So
Full circle.
totally,
Look at that. Oh my goodness. I love it. That's why we're
yeah,
so connected.
yeah. So Phoenix, talk a little bit about. I'd love to hear again. You've got these segments of who you are, and again, I never want to ignore the fact of the overlap, the intersectionality of all of these components, right? We are who we are, and all the parts of us make up the totality of who we are.
Correct.
But when I look, I can't even say triple threat, right? You are a multi-threat. Talk about some of these components of you. Your music. I know you have something coming up soon that you're releasing. You perform live. Yeah, talk about the musical side of Phoenix.
The music is my therapy. So anything that I go through, be it happy, be it sad, be it transformative, I will put it into a song and produce music around it. So most recently, I don't remember if I was in a relationship or not, or I was dating someone, and it was you knew that they wanted to say more. So it's called In Your Eyes.
Mm.
And it's, I can see it in your eyes. You want to be my guy and vibrate, vibrate higher. So that was one thing. And then if I go through heartbreak, I write it, I transmute it, and then I'm healed. And so these last two songs are Elevated and a Little Heartbreak. One is called In Your Eyes, and the other is called Dusty Weed. So it's about pouring into someone too much to the point where you just kind of exhaust yourself and it's not being put back into your bucket.
Mm.
And so it's a song of overcoming that and being okay with the outcome, and then just wanting both parties to heal so
Yeah.
that it can, never happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Learn
so
and
I think
grow and
exactly, because everything happens for a reason and in divine order. That's my mantra. And so you just take what you can learn from it and you leave the rest behind, and you don't hold on to that. And that's how I get through everything, is to write about it musically, create
mm.
a song. Yes.
As again, I'm thinking about the fact that Aziza's here and the role that you play in her life and likely in others, and even for, the average person that comes to a show in anything that you're doing. How, when for you, it's you're channeling real life experiences. It's part of your healing. It's part of all of this. Sometimes I feel that the younger generation, and likely I probably did it in my own iteration, but we
Hmm.
see somebody who's doing something and we are inspired by them. Um, and I guess the point is how can we as adults, artistic practitioners, how can we plant seeds in those who might have aspirations in creative fields to understand that it does take work. There are no shortcuts. We live in this age of TikTok and sound
Instant
bites and things
gratification.
like that. So, as you're speaking, and again, I certainly want to continue to explore all these different facets of you, but I can't help but think about that and the opportunity to hear your thoughts while Aziza is also sitting here with us.
How can I inspire young students to realize that it takes work and it's not instant gratification?
Yeah.
Example, literally an example. I am a living, walking, breathing example of what it takes. I tell all my students, it's not easy. And if it's something that you want to do, you have to be passionate about it. It's going to take work. It's not going to come overnight. And just educating them in that, and also being present and allowing them to see all that I've done and being transparent. I speak to my students like they're my best friends. I let them know what's going on. And in doing that, you invite them into a more vulnerable state, and they can see what you've gone through, where you're going, and how you got there. So just being present and honest and open, and having those conversations with them, just like your friends.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You were recently in a show, and again, I'm so sad we missed it. But tell us about the show, the experience.
Oh, it was a beautiful experience, and one of the toughest experiences in my entire professional career. Let me tell you why. My mother had recently transitioned March 18th, I believe, and the audition was maybe several weeks later. And my throat chakra is very connected to my mother because she was my first vocal coach. She taught me how to sing. I imitated and emulated her when I sing. And so I got the role. The audition was great. They hired me on the spot, actually. But when it came time to sing and hit the money notes, what they're called is the belty ones, it was not available to me. I
Oh,
could not access it. It would come out scratchy, and I was fearful of it. And I had to get over it. I had to actually speak to my mother out loud and hum through it. And then the day, I think I finally got it maybe 2 days before I went on live, and I meditated and I prayed and I spoke to anybody and all of my ancestors and my guides. And it just flowed out of me like it had never left me. And it was even elevated, more elevated than it was before. But to book a leading role, get the role on the spot. And then when it came time for the money notes, I was bankrupt. That did something psychological to me. And it was very, very, it was painful to try and get through that. But the outcome and the victory was overshadowed the negative, the journey that it took to get there. So I could communicate that to my students and say, I was here, I stayed the course, I did the inner work, whatever that means to you, and I was victorious in that moment. And since it finally flew out, and I just thanked all my ancestors, my mommy, everyone, and I would have to hum through the pain in my throat. And it was just the best experience of my life after that.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Aziza did share with me, about the loss of your mother and just, so much love and support and, just the way that you are able to really use in some ways even that grief to empower and strengthen your artistic presence is really, really
Exactly. Thank you very much. And I also brought it to the dance room because that's also therapy for me, is to bring movement to myself and then to others because they feel good when they move. And I enjoy bringing light to others. So instead of, I could have easily went into hermit mode and not gone to class or done anything, but it also brings me joy and it is a gift to give. So that is also another way that I overcame whatever grief I had. However, again, all in divine order and for my greatest good. So it was time. So I really wasn't allowed to be sad for too long for something that was meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Aziza, we had a loss. It's been 3 years of my father, and Aziza even lost her paternal grandmother in the same year. And she was very, very close to my father. And, a dear friend had written a book, which her name is Valerie Kaur, and it's called See No Stranger. And part of that, she even talks about, there's many components to the book, but part of that is she talks about grief, and grief is the price of love.
Yes.
I think, we keep experiencing that over and over, even 3 years in, it still feels so raw. And he was very much part of our musical and dance life and, just brought so much joy and culture into everything we did. And yet, like, we miss him every minute. And yet it is also such a treasure because that means he just meant that much.
Exactly. And you treasure the time that they were here. The grief comes in waves and it's supposed to. It's just, what do you do with it? Do you sit in the grief or do you fully give your emotions the opportunity to come to fruition, and you have to entertain them and give them the attention they deserve? And then you just keep moving forward because that's what they would want you to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what your loved ones would want you to do. That is absolutely correct. Love is a price of grief. What is it? Grief is a price of love. That's brilliant.
Yeah. And when I don't know how, I think it might even work in both directions.
Actually. The yin, the yang, all of it, the balance of it all, it does work in both directions. And just grateful for the time that we had with them. And that's also a thing. I'm honoring my mother's legacy by being the best version that I can because she instilled that in me. And I am a full extension of my mother. So it is my charge, my calling to bring along other creatives, not even just creatives, just people in general, and pour love into them so that they know that they're not alone. People just want to be seen, heard, felt, and understood. And I do that naturally, and it is part of who I am. So
beautiful. Let's go ahead. We'll take our second pause here. Welcome back to Heartistry. I am Farah Yasmeen Shaikh. We're speaking with Phoenyx Rose, and you are
Aziza Noor Sheikh.
Go ahead. I think Aziza
Uh,
has some thoughts.
I want to ask you about your candle company and how that idea came and the inspiration behind that.
Okay, well, this is my third time around. See, this is keep going and keep going. I've had three different candle companies. The first company was called Okay. The second one was called Aurora Lights Candles, and this third one, Aurora Luxe Candles. Initially, I had a friend who just introduced me to candle making. It was something we did randomly one night, and it just kind of stuck with me. But this time around, it is a way that I keep my mother's light alive in my head. By each candle that I create, each candle that is lit holds a piece of her because it has a piece of me in it, and I can just keep her light alive through that. So it is also a healing candle because it's a sensory image. No, excuse me. It is how can I say that? Each scent is catered to something that needs healing. So, for instance, I have a candle called Surrender. It's got lavender for calm, eucalyptus to open up the airwaves, and vanilla for peace and calm as well. So, each is catered to something that needs healing as well. So, yeah, it's all just a healing process. And candles are also a way that I heal. I light candles and then I create even more candles. So, this time around is to honor my mother and keeping her light alive.
Mm, beautiful. How can we access these candles?
You can go to Aurora Luxe, AuroraLuxe candles, CANDLES.com, AuroraLuxeCandles.com. And they're in pre-sale right now, so they're nicely discounted, $29, normally $33.
Beautiful. Oh, they sound amazing. Uh, I know you do sound healing as well.
Yes, I
Ah, see,
do.
again, I don't know that we're going to get through all the things that you do, but I want to know everything.
Pardon me.
Oh,
Asa,
okay.
Asa,
Oh.
excuse me, sir. And I'm a full-time mom. Fur baby.
Yeah.
Yes, I am a sound healer. It just kind of presented itself to me. I picked up some crystal sound healing bowls, some tuning forks, and my hands are usually my healing modality. And frequencies. The world is just frequencies, sound and motion. Humans are sound in motion. And if you can tap into the frequencies, because each frequency correlates with something within your body, within your mind. And so if you create a chorus of frequencies of sound, then your body naturally comes back to a space of center. So I offer sound healing as well. It literally fell into my lap. I did not go to school for it. I did not study anything. It's instinctual. It's like an ancestral gift
Yeah.
for me to be able to sound heal. And I just did a session about 3 days ago. And it is such a joy and an honor to see people come in and they have a kind of a different mindset. They're not exactly sure what to expect. You can sense that they're a little heavy. And then when they leave, they're lighter and they have a whole new outlook on life. And just one moment, a simple moment can change the whole trajectory of someone's life just in an instant. And so I am grateful to be able to offer that through sound
Mm,
and sense and movement.
yeah. Amazing. You, तुमने कुछ sound healing किया? I'm asking her if she's ever done any sound healing.
I think like our counselor in elementary school had a bowl and she would like do that and then that would be that and then we did like a shark fin. That was pretty much it. I don't think.
Well, guess what I'm bringing to class next time? That makes me like think of I'm going to do it because in our class before we do anything we breathe in and we breathe out. So I have everyone sit down in a circle, we close our eyes and we take 3 deep breaths together so that we can be on the same frequency and on the same vibe and move forward with the same mindset. So I am going to start introducing my sound healing bowls. Thank you for that.
Amazing. Oh, yeah. Oh, that would be phenomenal. I
Yes.
bet.
Please, I missed you. Come back to my
I
class.
know, I know. I got a chance to only do one class with you. And you know what? I think the reason I stopped Phoenix is because I respected you too much to not be consistent.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, no, and I mean that. I just I knew where I was at that
Mhm.
time, and I just didn't want to take you, your time, your energy, your skill for granted. And yeah.
I appreciate that. Know thyself. You knew what you could handle and you moved accordingly. Thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, but anytime you show up, you are welcome,
Thank you.
just so you know.
Thank you. And do you do these? You mentioned you did a session a few days ago. Is this something that you do, you organize just with folks that you know? Is it something that somebody who doesn't know you is able to learn about and sign up? Yes. How public are your offerings?
This was a word of mouth referral. I actually took a Pilates class and spoke with the instructor, and she had mentioned incorporating sound healing in that. And I never spoke with her after that. And one day she was like, "Are you still sound healing?" And she recommended me to someone else. So I'm a freelance contractor. I do plan on having sessions soon, as soon as I'm a little bit more situated within my candles.
Yeah.
But anyone can reach out to me and I can do a sound healing session. I have my equipment and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Beautiful. And just so I don't forget, we'll of course tag everything digitally, but just to hear the verbal, you mentioned the website for your candles, but how can folks just know about you? Is Instagram your best way to?
Instagram's the best way to find me, and that's Phoenix, Phoenyx underscore Rose, Rose, as in to rise, not the flower.
I love that. I honestly had not made that correlation. Thank you for that
You're welcome.
specific. I love it. Awesome. Let's go ahead. We'll take our final break here.
Okay.
And welcome back to Heartistry. We have been having a really joyful, enlightening, inspirational conversation today with Phoenyx Rose. And I'm so happy that I get to co host this with Aziza, my daughter. Um, I think Aziza has some other thoughts for you.
Other than your parents, who are your biggest inspirations, whether it's celebrity or just people in your life?
Let me think. There's a slew of them. I have had the honor and pleasure of being raised by a lot of strong women throughout my life. I am like a magnet to them. They just see me and they're like, "Come here, young child. Let me show you what I have. Let me impart the wisdom upon you." So, one of my best friends in junior high school, her mother, Lori, took care of me kind of when my mother couldn't, because my mother was going to school, teaching, getting her master's degree. And so she was one of the most resilient women that I've ever come across. She took care of her family, she had a job, she was still loving, and she was very strong and vulnerable at the same time. But she taught me to, I'm trying to say this in the best way, not take any stuff from anyone. So that was her. And then I had another woman who I was a bartender also for 25 years, but she gave me my first job and she taught me the importance of running a good business. And so I kind of just connected myself to her hip and she would teach me all the business aspects of being professional. And then there's my sister.
Mm.
She is my biggest fan, my best friend, and will always instill, she's the biggest lover in the world, support. She has taught me how to be supportive of everyone who deserves it and to be discerning of who deserves your time or who is, righteous and willing to receive it and reciprocate. So my sister as well. And then I also have to, oh, she's my world, my godmother. Her name is Pamela, and I call her Gami. Always, Gami, I love you. I am 44 years old, and I will still climb in her lap and rock back and forward. She is, she was my mother's best friend, is my mother's best friend, and she has taught me devotion and how to be one of the best friends in the entire world. So it has just been many, many, many women who have picked me up and put me under their wing and have just put little gems, just a little gem here and there. And so I pride myself on being able to do that to the next generation moving forward. And not even generation, I do it for all ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful hearing you speak about them because it's you could be inserted into everything that you just described. And I say that without even knowing those individuals because we become a reflection of the people that we surround ourselves with, right? And that's, I think, why they inspire us,
Mhm.
and that sort of continuous paying it forward. And I think the consciousness around it is a beautiful thing. And yet sometimes it's not even conscious
Yeah, it's
because that's the
instinctual.
love and energy that's you've been around.
Yeah, yeah, I've been grateful and blessed.
Yeah.
I truly have.
Amazing. What Saval? Phoenix, I have a question I love to close with, but before I do, anything else you'd like to share? Ask Aziza, ask me anything before I throw in my
I,
last thought.
Aziza, what do you have coming up this year, and what are you most looking forward to?
Well, I'm starting high school, so that's a huge thing. But I think I'm mostly excited to, well, as I got on our high school dance team, I'm quite excited to like just start dancing again and just being with people that I've gotten close with over middle school who like I'll get to dance with now through high school. And I'm
Hmm.
excited to like also build new connections with the people that I haven't danced with, and that'll be pretty exciting, I think. I hope.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that for you. Do you foresee any challenges that you're going to have to get over and overcome?
I think in the relation with dance, I think it's going to be hard for me just to get some of the like skills that other people may have since they've been dancing in that
Style.
style longer than I have. So there will be like struggles, but I'll have to just overcome them by keep practicing and just having to keep moving.
Exactly. That was my next question. How are we going to do that? Just keep practicing. And like I said, stronger women have latched on to me. Find a friend who can help you and kind of bring you along, someone that you see who has the great skills and just kind of, watch closely and see what they do because they've gotten there and you've got it. You're a fast learner. You have the skill. So I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been such a joy for Aziza's dad and I. Again, I've had obviously a front seat to seeing her dance, even in my tummy.
Yeah.
But it has been such a joy for us to see her finding her place in dance, and dance happens to be her thing. I never wanted to impose that on her, but we'll sit, whether it's the middle school dance show, and yeah, Aziza's style is not, she hasn't been doing it as long as some of these others who've been in lyrical and contemporary
Yeah.
and even hip
Yeah.
hop,
Yeah.
but it's the joy that we love see come
Exactly.
out of her. Like we just sort of look at each other, and I'm really emotional in this conversation. I don't usually get, but it is this sort of, you that's the thing you hope for your child, right? That they
Yeah.
just find joy, inspiration, and a sense of discipline and drive. And when those
Correct.
things can kind of happen simultaneously, that's
Hmm.
the gift that we
Yeah, and
see.
just have fun. The moment it starts to feel a little complicated, just go within and see what's hard. What's hard about it? And it's really not that hard. You can get over anything. Just check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Love it. Well, Phoenix, my question that I love to ask all my guests to sort of close our conversations, or at least let's just say this conversation, because I hope
Mhm.
to continue many, many with you. Uh,
Yes.
but it's a little bit of a reflection on this concept of heartistry, the name of the podcast.
I
It's
love
the
it.
word heart and artistry put together. For me, when I came up with it, it's certainly not a word I came up with. I must have seen it, but it just drove me to this place of the way I sort of expanded the intention around it was that I wanted to be in conversation with individuals that are bringing a passion, compassion, and commitment to whatever they're doing income generating or not. And I'm always curious to know whether it's as I'm speaking about it now or when we reached out to invite you to be on the podcast and you saw the word, what, if anything, this idea of heartistry invokes for you?
Passion. Heart is passion and artistry. Yes, I did hear that. A passion for your art and it being a part of your tapestry. Yeah, I just knew that it was not monetized. It was what brings you life, what makes you happy, what is your driving force. And it's the heartistry, the art of it. Because I would do this for free. I really would. I wouldn't be me without it. So it is the foundation of who you are, where it sits within your heart. You have to love it in order to do it. And it is your art. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% to all of that.
Thank you.
Well, I have had such a pleasure just being in community with you before
Yes.
this conversation. I certainly hope to spend more time with you in any and all the ways. Again, so deeply grateful in the ways that you have made an impact on Aziza in a relatively short time. But there's just certain people you see and we feel that. Anything you'd like to say in closing, Bubs?
Well, I'm excited to start taking classes again.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. I really am. And I love, love, love you. Thank you so much for thinking of me. It's an honor that you thought to interview me alongside your mother. Thank you, my love.
Of course, anytime.
Yes, and we will have more conversations. We must
Yes,
have
maybe
tea.
over some food, some beverage,
Yes,
make it happen.
exactly. Please, just let me know.
Aziza makes a mean matcha if you're into that.
Oh, I used to have it every morning. I make my own oat milk.
There you go. Amazing. Well, for now, Phoenix, thank you so much for your time today on Heartistry. Really.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.